What's happening? Landlord from Alabama here, back with another video. And today, man, we finna talk about the Cowboys versus Bucks. It's Landlord, you know we coming for our respect. Now let's talk about the game's biggest threat. Let's go. Okay, I was sitting back pondering, you know, just chilling, just cooling, listening to a little Jay-Z, and I thought to myself, what is the game's biggest threats? Threats, pimp, you know that song. I'm serious about mine, I'm so sincere, you know what I'm saying? But everybody might not get the reference, but it made me think about what's the biggest threats of the game, what would be the biggest threats to the Dallas Cowboys' success. And we understand that Tampa Bay, even though we don't like them, they do have one of the better defensive lines in the NFL, probably even one of the better front sevens in the NFL, in my opinion. And they do have an absolute monster that causes problems on that defensive line. Vita Vea, we already know how he coming. He's a big time player, a big load. He might not have all the numbers in the world, but he is a load. Now Tampa Bay, they defensive line kind of fell apart last year down the stretch. They started allowing close to 5 yards a carry in the last 8 games, and you know that's uncharacteristic for that kind of line they had, but they were going through some injuries, so we got to take that with a grain of salt. But if you think back to last year, we were running the ball pretty effectively on the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, we didn't have Zach Martin last year, and it was a tough road. It got a little rough for Mr. Tyler Biadasz going up against such a big man like Vita. And he a powerhouse, man. He's a big-time wrecking ball in the middle of that defensive line. And we know Tyler isn't an all-pro center. He's a young player. We looking at him like he's probably just the average player or better than average. So we understand he's going to lose some of those reps. So hopefully we put this in the game plan. We can put some double teams over there, chip block him, or do something to stop his penetration, because he is a very effective player if you let him just go one-on-one, especially against Tyler Biadasz. Now, we know he's not a sack master. He's not going to have the outstanding, mind-blowing numbers, but he did have 33 solo tackles and had 4 sacks last year. But that's not really a fair representation of what he does when he affects the game, man. We understand that he demands double teams, which allows the defensive ends to go one-on-one. He basically does all the dirty work, man. He is one of those players that get overlooked, but does have a big time effect on the game, and he can hinder us from being able to run the football the way we want to. PFF had him with a 73.2 overall grade and had him with a 63.9 in run defense and 77.3, I believe, in pass rush. We know we got to take those PFF numbers with a grain of salt. That's not the end-all be-all. Football is played on the field, but that is a good point of reference. That is something to consider. But we know he does a lot of stuff that goes overlooked and unseen and can absolutely wreck our game if we don't have it in the game plan to pay him attention and at least run away from him, throw some double teams, some chips over there to make sure he doesn't just ruin everything we trying to do. Now for the biggest threat, number 2, man, is Lavonte David, number 54. We know he's a wily old veteran. He's getting a little long in the tooth. He has had a spectacular career. We have to give him his respect and his props on that, man. He is 24th overall in tackles, and that's just crazy. And you know, I had to do a little research, and I found it pretty interesting that it was only one Cowboy in the top 50 of the tackles, and that was Mr. Terrence Newman. But you know, that's besides the point. It was just kind of interesting to me. But PFF is still grading him pretty well, man, even though he's an older player. They graded him a 78.8 overall, a 72 in run defense, and 65.2 in pass rush, and an 81 in coverage. So he's still playing at a pretty great level, man. He's still very effective for this Tampa Bay defense, man. So he's gonna be someone we have to watch out for. We understand the way their defense works. Vita Vea, makes all kind of problems and cause havoc inside that defensive line. That's what allows him to be free and roam and run and shoot those gaps, make tackles for loss come downhill, man. So it's basically a perfect marriage between those two, man. So that's why I kind of consider them the biggest threats, because when you take into consideration the Cowboys coming in here with a pretty shaky offensive line by most people's standards, with a young wide receiving core and pretty inexperienced. So the best remedy for a situation like that is to obviously run the football. So if we want to run, those are the two culprits that can hinder us from being successful and make a big time impact on this football game, in my opinion. But that's all I got for you today, man. Just holla at your boy Landlord from Alabama with the same handle on all social media. And like I say, 1K, 1 love, Cowboys Nation. Let's go.